Sorry about the delay, folks. They started a few minutes early on us. That's why I'm out of breath. I just ran up the stairs from getting the rosters. So I'll be catching my breath for the next few moments. I apologize for that. It is, yeah, they started 5 minutes early. So that's what threw us off. We admittedly got here late. But if you'll give us a moment, we'll have everything sorted out. That score is not accurate. They just started. That's from the last game we did. Grace McDaniel sends it inside and it's going to roll out of bounds. Turnovers have been a big problem for Chapman's JV girls team so far this year. It'll be interesting to see if they've gotten that patched up. Feels like it's been a while since we've done one of their games. And we've got whistles as the shot was coming off. Chapman's happy about it. And it will be, the ball will belong to the Lady Panthers. And this shot is off the mark. It will stay with Chapman. So no points as of yet. Both teams looking to notch the first score. 5:27 left to play in the first. And Chapman still slinging this one around. McDaniel has it now. Drawing it to go back inside. Does send it inside. That's Kayla Harden. Now going inside with the center, and that one is off the mark. Rebounded by Chapman. No, Emerald's got it. And right back into the hands of the Lady Panthers. And another foul called. You know, I apologize. I'm sounding out of breath. We got the stream started late. They started the game earlier than they thought we would, earlier than we thought they would. So we're all still trying to catch up here. No points so far, about 70 seconds into the game. Chapman has had the ball for pretty much that entire time, and now it will finally make its way back into the hands of the Vikings. One of the Lady Panthers called for traveling there. McDaniel tried to work away inside. That one was batted away but brought back in by Kayla Harden. And now trying to go inside again off the fingertips but stays in bounds. And now let me pull up Chapman's roster real quick. Number 34 there. Able to sink the first points of the game for either team. Chapman up 2-0. And number 11 for Emma tried to drive back outside after going in the paint. Had that one batted out of bounds. It will remain Viking ball. Got a substitution now for Chapman. And this one is taken away by the Panthers. 4:12 to play in the first. And errant throw, but somehow brought back in by the Panthers. And now Chapman up by 2 possessions. Working on getting those rosters pulled up, and we've got a carrying call going against the Lady Vikings. Things falling off the rails early for Emerald. And timeout called, I believe that was Emerald. think I finally got my breath caught after that timeout. Again, I'd like to apologize. The game got started 5 minutes earlier. It tipped off at 5:55 instead of 6 like we thought it would, and it really is amazing what kind of a difference 5 minutes can make in that regard. But I think everybody, it looks like, kind of has their feet back under them now. Things going to be very interesting from the get-go for Emerald here. We're going to see just how good their conditioning program is. The Lady Vikings only bringing in 6 players tonight. So at any given point, 4 starters will be in the game, at least, if not 5. Currently in the game now for the Vikings, looks like we only have first initials and last names on the roster. Morrow, number 3. This is V. Bird, number 11, sending it inside, and it's taken away by the Lady Panthers. Grace McDaniel going and driving are they going to call that a shooting foul or not? It looks like she's headed to the line, and indeed she is. So 2 free throw shots coming up for Grace McDaniel. That is where, I mean, I almost said thrived, but I mean, like, it's been more than that for the Panthers, at least the Lady Panthers JV. I mean, their entire team has been based around causing turnovers on defense and getting points off of that. And they are really excelling in that department so far. McDaniel's first shot is good. Chapman goes up 5-0. They can't stretch it to a 3-possession lead, but McDaniel can get them to a 6-point advantage here. Concentrating and takes a shot. This one rolls in as well. 6-0 in favor of the Panthers. Morrow checks this one in over to Bird. Now number 4, Akil. And Akil loses her handle on it. We got whistles. Are they going to call this a foul against number 20? Yes, that is Katie Whiteside's getting called for the foul there. First foul of the game going against the Panthers. Emerald has had 2. Morrow to check this one in for the Lady Vikings. Down 6-0 with just over 3 minutes to go in the first period. And there it is again. I was about to say they were really priming up for that steal, and this one, they're going to take a few moments off. That one goes out of bounds, but it will remain Chapman ball. Madison Blackwell with the steal, and now set to check this one in. And now over to McDaniel. Makes number 1 miss. That is Lights listed. M. Lights. Again, no first names on this roster for Emerald. Only first initials and last names. I got it out of the scorekeeping book down there. Morrow to check this one into Bird. Foul goes against Chapman. And now Katie Whitesides exits the game. She's replaced by Kayla Harden. Morrow checks it into Bird. Under 3 to play in the first now. And there's another steal. This one forced by Kayla Harden. It winds up in the hands of Blackwell. Now Blackwell short hops that throw from the inside. Rebounded by Harden. She tried to get it back to Blackwell, and in a roundabout way pulls it off. Now Harden was alone, passes a little bit slow, hung in the air for a bit, and that allowed the Emerald defense to close in on it. But somehow this play's still going. Harden for 3, and off the mark, hops out of bounds. It will be Emerald ball. .2:11 to play in the first. A lot going on so far, especially given that we've only got 6 points on the board between both teams. It's been a deceptively action-packed first half in relation to the score. Chapman's defense, I mean, the 0 on the scoreboard is one thing, but the turnovers, I mean, Emerald has barely held the ball in this game. Chapman has taken it away early and often, and now for 3, this one off the mark and goes off the shoe of number 52, a new addition to the Chapman roster. Have to get a name there. She is not listed as of yet. At least not listed on the initial roster I received at the beginning of the season. And, oh man, bad pass tipped by Grace McDaniel, and McDaniel sinks the layup. Now Chapman up by 3 possessions. 8-0 in favor of the Lady Panthers. Neither team has sunk a three-pointer. We've seen 2 attempts, one by each side. They've both come up short. Long pass over, and now back to the outside. Sending it inside to Akil. And now Akil sending it back out to Morrow. And timeout called by the Emerald bench. I think they can kind of see the writing on the wall there. They narrowly avoided a turnover several times on that possession alone. Got to get their footing together. It's really, this is giving me shades of the last game we called. That was the Landrum and Blacksburg varsity games. The boys team did pretty well, but at least for Landrum. But then when they got to the girls game, or we started out the girls game, but Landrum lost that one because they could not, I mean, that Blacksburg defense was just sticking it to them. They could not get separation for the life of them. I mean, it was really like they were glued to the Lady Cardinals. It was a very, very impressive defensive performance from Blacksburg, and we're kind of seeing shades of that here already. Emerald just really not able to get any separation on offense, and it's not only enabled Chapman to get the turnovers they need, but because of those turnovers, it's kept the ball out of Emerald's hands. I'm trying to think back to which playoff game it was. It was the Bears and the Saints. If you watched that yesterday, when the Saints won that one, and I think they had the ball for like maybe 20 minutes out of all 30 minutes in the second half. Just, I don't know that Chapman consciously came out and said, okay, we're going to play ball control today, but that's what it's looking like so far. And to this point, it's really working well. Not a lot of offensive glitz and glamour, but defensively, a very impressive performance so far. 70 seconds to play in the first. And now Morrow tries to send it inside, going for the long 2, off the mark, and rebounded by Madison Atkins. Atkins flips it over to McDaniel, and Chapman was going to try to set up, now getting it outside to Harden. Harden driving in and loses her handle on it, hops out of bounds, and it looks like they're going to call this Emerald ball, yes. Lights to check in. 49.2 seconds to play in the first. Chapman up 8-0, and now we've seen our first substitution for Emerald, number 10, M. Quarles, in the game for the Lady Vikings. And again, the substitutions and the conditioning, those are really going to be 2 things to keep an eye on, because again, only 6 players active for Emerald tonight. Not entirely sure about the causation of that, but they've only got 1 player that can sub in and out. So at any given point, at least 4 of the starters are going to be on the court. And Chapman tried to get that one inside. They're going to call Madison Atkins for carrying with 32.3 seconds to go in the first. Emerald's still looking for their first points of the game. They've had opportunities. They've been few and far between. Nowhere. Again, I mean, they have just not possessed the ball for very long. Chapman has really controlled time of possession so far. And when they have had opportunities to shoot, really, they have not had many because of the takeaways. But right here, yeah, they've just come up a bit short, have not been able to capitalize. Looking like they still got to get dialed in. Maybe need to try and design some screens, just easy inside completions, or I guess buckets, I should say. Still thinking of this in football terminology from the playoff games yesterday. And Harden sends this one out of bounds. No harm, no foul. That was the end of the first period anyway. And so at the conclusion of the first 6 minutes, Chapman up 8-0. The Lady Panther defense playing lights out so far. We will be back in a moment. All right, and to start the second period off, it will be Emerald ball. Morrow to check this one in to Bird. And now Bird moving quickly. We did not see this much from the Emerald offense in the first period. Might be a quick adjustment on their end. We'll see if it pays off. Not quite yet. This one taken away by Madison Atkins. Atkins driving to the goal and off the mark, but rebounded by Katie Whitesides. And Whitesides sends it out of bounds. They're going to rule it in favor of Chapman, though. There was a tussle for the ball right around the three-point line. Whitesides to check this one in. 5:38 to play in the first half. Whitesides gets it over to McDaniel. McDaniel has an opening, sends it outside. Now back to McDaniel. Wanted to go for three. Instead goes inside to Whitesides again. And Whitesides just kind of slings it up there. Got fouled anyway. And 2 shots upcoming for Katie Whiteside. She'll have a chance to get the Panthers out to double digits. .5:29 to play in the second period. Whiteside's first shot is good. 9-point lead for the Lady Panthers. Substitutions. No, I don't think that was a substitution. I think a few players just swapped places on the court. For a 4-possession lead, Whitesides got it. Nice looking shot there from Katie Whitesides. Puts the Panthers up 10-0. And now Akil driving right inside, got fouled as she was shooting. Or no, they're going to call her for traveling. Tough sledding for Emerald so far. Arrington checks this one in. And now McDaniel going right down the court, inside the paint. Atkins gets it back to Arrington, off the mark, rebounded by Arrington again, back to Atkins, and Atkins has it knocked out of her hand, but they're going to call it Chapman ball. Interesting turn of events there. And Atkins gets it right inside to Harden. Now Harden trying to get out of trouble, flips it to McDaniel, back to Atkins. Everyone trying to get back in position for the most part right now. Arrington in some trouble, gets it McDaniel. McDaniel looking and sends it off the shin of one of those Emerald defenders. It is taken away by the Lady Vikings. Bird driving right to the goal and cannot sink it. Rebounded by Katie Whiteside. So just like that, ball goes right back to Chapman. Now Harden tried to get it over to Arrington, and Emerald's going to get it back. Pass was too tall for Polly Arrington. And now Morrow will check this one in for the Lady Vikings. 4:42 to play in the second period. I'd like to take a moment to remind you we have got a packed streaming schedule this week. Counting this event, both schools are having 2 events streamed each. Tomorrow we're going to Landrum. It's a varsity basketball matchup there. And then on Thursday, they have got wrestling. It is senior night against Chesney. Wrestling at Landrum on Thursday the 14th. And again on Tuesday, that's tomorrow, we're going to have a varsity matchup at Landrum. Boys and girls basketball against Brashier Middle College. This one taken away by Emerald, and that was a great step back from Akil and just could not capitalize there. Chapman right back at it. Black left under the goal, sinks that one. Chapman goes up 12-0 now. But as I was saying, again, packed streaming schedule. We've got a game at Landrum. Varsity basketball against Brashier Middle College on Tuesday. Then on Thursday at Landrum, wrestling against Chesney. It'll be our first wrestling event, the first one we've streamed. We're excited about that. And then on Friday, the big one, at least for this week, varsity basketball, Chapman taking on division rival Clinton. That one should be a lot of fun. Hoping to get the word out about that one. Share it with your friends, share the links. Got the links up, I believe, on the district Facebook page, and they are also set up on the Chapman High School Athletics channel. If you just go under the Athletics channel, you will find the thumbnail for the Chapman-Clinton matchup. Set to be streamed in 4 days' time. And we're looking to work from underneath the goal, or we're trying to get out from underneath it. They do manage to do that, and that pass hung in the air for a little while. Emerald does come back down with it, but not for much longer. McDaniel with a great tip, and it falls into the hands of Whitesides. Whitesides driving and overshoots that one. And jump ball, no, we got a foul called. Looks like a push against Chapman. Not entirely sure. I didn't see the number he gave, and it's a push against Emerald. This is Adeline West checking in for the Lady Panthers. West looking, gets it over to Blackwell. Blackwell goes right for the goal and almost sank that one. It bounced around for a little bit. Rebounded by Whitesides, and Whitesides is going to have a chance for a three-point play. Chapman up 14-0 with 3:08 to go in the second period. Katie Whitesides with a chance to make it 15-0. She had 2 foul shots earlier, sank both of them. Whitesides 3 for 3 on foul shots. That is also Emerald's 5th foul of the half. Bonus is looming. Clock is ticking, 3:05 to go. Emerald still on the hunt for some points. And nice behind the back maneuver there from Bird to shake Whiteside. Long pass to Mites. Almost lost her handle on it, but gets it back. And now back to Bird. Back over to Lights. And Lights tried to get it over to number 10. Does so, and that is Quarles sinking the first points of the game for Emerald. And they definitely needed those. Kayla Harden sends it inside to McDaniel. McDaniel from the free throw line didn't have a lot of time to set up. It's off the mark. Rebounded by Whitesides. Whitesides can't get it done. Tries Blackwell. Blackwell's got it. Right back to square one. 15-point lead for Chapman. The Panthers responding to the Vikings putting up their first points of the game. 2:10 to play in the second period. Bird motioning some of her teammates around. Gets it to Quarles, and Quarles just heaved that one up. Off the mark, but rebounded, and this one off the mark as well. Brought in by Grace McDaniel of the Lady Panthers. Got a clean line to the goal for a moment. Flips it to Harden, and Harden goes up off the mark and brought back in by jump ball. It'll remain with Chapman. And now a mass substitution from the Lady Panthers. Got a slew of new players coming in. And now tried to go right for the basket, but not going to work out. I'll have to get the updated roster at the half. The one I got at the beginning of the season looks to be outdated. I believe that's Adeline West wearing 42 instead of 32. A few other minor changes as well. I'll have to get the updates on those. Until then, Bird loses her handle on the ball and gets it back. Flips it to Morrow. And now Morrow looking, Whitesides. Is she going to get called for a reach? And they do call Whitesides for a foul. This one will remain with Emerald. 81 seconds to play. Grace McDaniel subbing in for Whitesides. Whitesides at least 2 fouls on the half. Might have had all 3 for the Lady Panthers. Something to keep an eye on. And that was Akil trying to split 2 defenders. Lost her handle on the ball. It will remain with the Lady Vikings. Foul called against Chapman. And now that's Bird going right for the three-pointer. Off the mark and brought back in by number 32. 32 driving, and yeah, I was about to say, she was just kind of striding from the three-point line onward, didn't really dribble. It had a defender breathing right down her neck. Traveling called, and it looks like one of those three-pointers for Chapman actually got called back. I'll keep an eye on that. I really thought they had 17. We've seen the scoreboard operators' fingers slip a handful of times this season between both Chapman and Landrum games. I'll keep an eye on that, but I really thought Chapman had 17 instead of 16. Until then, Emerald looking to notch some more points. still hanging on to the ball. 40 seconds to play. This one off the mark, rebounded by Grace McDaniel. There's a tussle for it, and Emerald brings it back in. That's Quarles, and then McDaniel sends it out of bounds on the attempted steal. It will remain with the Lady Vikings. 36.7 seconds to go in the first half. Emerald down by 14. And now Morrow sending it up, and I'm not sure if that was a shot attempt or her trying to pass it over to Brown, but regardless, it's taken away by the Lady Panthers, and they still got the ball. I believe that's Adeline West sinking it. 18-2 lead for the Lady Panthers with 7 seconds left, and Emerald, I don't even know if they're going to try a half-court shot here. Running out of time, and that's the buzzer. One heck of a defensive performance from the Lady Panthers in that opening half, only allowing 2 points and shutting out Emerald in the first period. Certainly an impressive performance thus far. We'll see if they can continue that momentum or if Emerald can get something going in the locker room at halftime. Back in 10 minutes, the Lady Panthers up 18-2 over the Lady Vikings of Emerald. See you soon. All right, and we are about ready for the start of the second half. It was certainly a tumultuous opening 2 periods for the Emerald Lady Vikings. Only managed to muster 2 points through 2 periods. And it's really not so much their fault as it is. I mean, this Chapman defense is just playing lights out. I think even the best teams in the league, I imagine, would be hard-pressed to score against the Lady Panthers the way they're playing tonight. They've certainly been structurally sound all year, and their defense has been based around forcing turnovers and really maybe, kind of unintentionally controlling time of possession and just limiting the amounts of opportunities that the other team gets. But so far, they've executed their scheme to absolute perfection. And Emerald looking to do a little bit of the same, it looks like. Maybe that's the halftime adjustment they needed. They were not very aggressive steal-wise early in this game. If they can take the ball away a few times and get the ball out of Chapman's hands, that might be the spark they need. We'll see how things shake out, and Lights loses her handle on the ball, and then Grace McDaniel takes that one away. Looking like a defensive back on that one. Certainly an impressive grab, and we got a foul called against Bird for the Lady Vikings, it looks like. Not a shooting foul, though. No, it will be a shooting foul. So Grace McDaniel headed to the line. She sank her first 2 early on in the first period. This one to get Chapman out to an 18-point lead. That will be their biggest of the game. And McDaniel goes to 3 for 3 on free throw attempts. And now looks like we got a substitution for Emerald. Yep. Lights is exiting the game. She's replaced by, that's number 10, Quarles. Again, conditioning going to play a major role for Emerald here tonight as well. Only 6 players on the active roster today. It looks like they were only able to even bring 6 on the bus. Again, we're not sure what that is, if it's personal, COVID, injury, but at the end of the day, Emerald still only has 6 players ready to roll today. So, if nothing else, we're going to find out just how good their conditioning program is. And got some tussling there at half court. They're going to call a push. Didn't catch a number there. Looks like it's going to go against Chapman. So only 1 point so far in the first 40 seconds of the second half. Bird looking for an opening. Flips it over to Quarles. Now Quarles trying to send it inside. Airmailed it right to the Lady Panthers. Taken away by Pauly Arrington. Now check that. That is number 5, Elizabeth Maloney. And Maloney lost her handle on it. And now Morrow will check it in for the Lady Vikings. 5:05 to play in the third. This period moving along a lot more slowly than the other ones, but for the sake of bureaucracy almost, just had a lot of whistles, a lot of stoppages so far. The clock ran pretty regularly in that first half. Oh man, and Bird sent it right to McDaniel, but I think they're going to get McDaniel for kicking there. Got to do whatever you can do to corral that ball, but kicking not in the basketball rule set, or at least not yet. Maybe that's an advancement we'll see in the next 20 years or so. And jump ball, and somehow brought back in by Chapman, but not for long. Or it looks like this one will stay with the Lady Panthers. Maloney had a shot at it. It hopped out of bounds, and the Panthers are able to hang on. Harden got in some trouble there. They're going to call it for traveling. Hit a trap block thrown by Quarles and a keel, and could not quite beat it. 4:45 to play in the third. Bird sending it over to Quarles, goes right through her hands, and then Maloney almost sent it right back to Quarles, and Emerald comes down with it, heaving that shot up, and Maloney gets it again, and Grace McDaniel there to scoop it up right at the last second. And now Chapman in control of the ball. McDaniel going for the long 2. This one on the money. Chapman up by 19. Bird flips it out to Quarles, wanted to go for 3, and now a long pass over to number 12. And Brown sinks the 2-point shot for the first points of the second half for Emerald, and she'll get an opportunity for a 3-point play here. .4:02 to play in the third period. Mass substitution for the Lady Panthers. Most of the starters out. And whistles blew as that shot left Brown's hands. They're going to call it against Emerald, so it'll be Chapman ball. Whiteside's in the game now. I believe she's the only Panther to have started, and just slinging that one up. Not really sure if that was an attempt at a long 3 or if she was trying to get it inside the paint. But regardless, it ends up in the hands of the Lady Vikings. And now yet another substitution for the Lady Panthers. Kayla Maccabee exits the game. She's replaced by number 42. Again, there's no 42 on the roster, but I believe that's Adeline West, who wore 32 for most of the season, and that one heads out of bounds. It'll remain Emerald ball. Morrow sending it right inside to Akil, and Akil lost her handle on it. I think Emerald's got it and must have hopped out of bounds there. Quarles was, or check that was Brown, just hanging out on the wood, trying to get something going. Oh, and they called a timeout. 3:38 to play in the third. Emerald still looking to find their footing offensively. That separation, again, it was not there in the first half, and they've done a better job of it so far in the second, but they still have not had the windows I imagine they've looked for. Not many three-point attempts for either side, but I believe Emerald's only had 1. Down by 17. And down by 17, I'll add, against a Chapman defense that has not only been very stingy, but has really limited comeback attempts by their opponents. They have not slipped up very often. And this one off the mark from Emerald. Whistles blow as it was shot, and looks like Bird was indeed fouled. 2 shots coming up for the Lady Vikings, or the refs might have thought this was a standard foul. Nobody really seems to know what to do here. And they will send it to Bird. Emerald looking to notch a few more points. Bird from the line, this one off the mark. She'll have 1 more. And this one is off as well, rebounded by Chapman. And almost stolen away, and it is stolen away. Akil just plucked that pass out of the air and then got fouled by Whiteside as he was heading back down the court. Whiteside's, subbing out. She's been called for several fouls in this game. I believe that's her 4th. Now Bird checking inside to Brown. Brown trying to box her defender out, and no good. Brought back in by the Lady Panthers. Polly Arrington now. Looking, gets it over to Madison Blackwell. First we've seen of her in this half. And Blackwell trying to box some players out. Now taking a step back, flips it to Arrington. Emerald almost took that one away. And now Arrington going to flip it over to Blackwell again. They're trying to set him up for 3, it looks like. And now Blackwell going to drive inside, goes right up and off the mark. Rebounded by number 52 of the Lady Panthers. That one off. And it'll stay with Chapman. Number 23, Violet Arias in the game now. Flips it over to Blackwell. Wanted to go for 3, but the closing speed by the Lady Vikings certainly on par with that of Chapman to this point. And Blackwell got fouled. I think they're going to call a charge against Quarles, yes. Are they going to call that a shooting foul? They are not. 2:49 to play in the third. That's only Emerald's second foul of the half. Blackwell for three. This one off the mark. There's a scramble for the ball, and Emerald has a clear lane to the goal. Can they sink this one? No. Rebounded by Akil. Akil can't do it, and it's brought back in for a moment by the Lady Panthers and then got knocked out of the hands at number 42. But they're going to keep it with Chapman. Paulie Arrington to check this one in. 2:35 to go in the third period. Chapman still up by 17. Been a while since we've seen points for either side. And Blackwell lost her handle on the ball. And Bird making a beeline to the goal. Finally sinks another one for the Lady Vikings. Lead down to 15, and that Chapman bench, even with a 5-possession lead, they're getting awfully quiet back there. Emerald starting to build some momentum, and they've done it with defense so far. Their main halftime adjustment, it looks like, has been to start going for more takeaways, and so far they've succeeded. Their offense has not quite been up to par with that, but if they can start capitalizing on the possessions they're getting and continue to come up with these takeaways, we could see a pretty big role reversal considering what happened in the first half. Timeout taken by the Lady Panthers. We'll take one with them. Chapman up by 15, 21-6 with 2:08 left to go in the third period. And this is Paulie Arrington getting it into Madison Blackwell. It'll be below 2 minutes to play in the third by the time Blackwell shoots, or she flips it out to Arias. And now Arias back to Blackwell. Chapman, it looks like they've been making a conscious attempt to try and set up some three-pointers, maybe to put Emerald away for good in this one, but that defense, I mean, they have been swarming so far. They were playing a little bit loose earlier in the game, but since then they have really tightened things up. And again, foul called against the Lady Vikings, it looks like, but such is a product of tightening up defensively the way they have. And I mean, for the most part, it really has paid off. Chapman's points have been seriously limited so far in the second. Emerald's offense has got to step up, though. Their defense has been playing the part, but offensively, the momentum's still not quite there. And driving inside, off the mark, and headed it out of bounds. Blackwell did what she could to keep that one in play, but all for naught. Morrow to check this one in for the Lady Vikings. 1:35 to play in the third. Bird flips it over to Lights. First we've seen her in a while. Now Brown for three, short hops it, and headed out of bounds. It'll be Chapman ball. And they check this one into Blackwell. Blackwell slinging it down the court, and it's taken away by Akil. Akil driving and gets some points for Emerald. 21-8 now. 13 is the lowest this lead has been in a while. Surprised Madison Blackwell didn't get called for travel. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, there's the traveling call. She kind of fell over there towards the end, and I think the officials thought about maybe giving her the benefit of the doubt, but they will rule this one in favor of the Lady Vikings. And now substitutions for both sides. Grace McDaniel among those substitutions alongside Kayla Harden for the Lady Panthers. Quarles back in the game for the Lady Vikings. Sending it inside with Brown. Now Brown looking to get it back outside. Flips it over to Quarles. Quarles looking in some trouble. Tried to get it to Akil, and it goes right through Akil's legs. Taken away by the Lady Panthers. Harden got whistles, and they're going to call Harden for traveling. 42.7 seconds to play in the third. If Emerald can score here, especially if they're able to sink a three-pointer, that would go down as a win in their book. They've only held Chapman to, I believe, 4 points in this period. They really have gone blow for blow with them so far in the third. Just hasn't been a lot of flash for either side. A lot of defensive plays, and this one headed out of bounds. Emerald thinks they've got it, and it looks like they're going to keep it with the Lady Vikings. 31.2 seconds now. Lights to check this one in. And Lights just kind of underhands it to Akil, and that one's taken right away by Grace McDaniel. And McDaniel goes inside. Blackwell for the layup, misses, and got tipped out of bounds, and it's going to stay with Chapman. Bird trying to catch the rebound there, and it ends up biting Emerald. Grace McDaniel to check it in, gets it over to 34, now 34, flips it. Oh, too tall for Polly Arrington. Right back to the Lady Vikings. Lights to check this one in from half court. 18 seconds flat to go in the third period. Bird flips it over to Quarles, back to Bird. And this one taken away for a moment. Emerald gets it back, but not for long. Blackwell trying to get a handle on the ball, and time's going to run out, and just short of the buzzer beater. So, still a big lead for Chapman in a very defensively minded game. Emerald has their work cut out for them in the final 6 minutes, but at least considering what happened in the first two periods, that's got to go down as a win in Emerald's book. They were really, I believe there were only 10 total points scored in that half, maybe 11, something like that, but they really did go blow for blow with Chapman there. They were stride for stride. I think Emerald, looking back, I think Emerald might have scored 6 points to Chapman's 3, something like that. I'll have to go back and see exactly how many Chapman had at the end of the second period. But until then, again, Emerald's got their work cut out for them, but this is only a 5-possession game. They've got 6 minutes to get something going here. It's not out of the question. They've just got to find some offensive momentum. Some setup plays, easy shots for some of their players. We'll see what they've got dialed up. And there's the ready for play to start the fourth period. Emerald checks it into Bird. And this is what we have not seen a lot of. Bird picking up the pace there. I was about to say, separation has really been the biggest issue for the Lady Vikings so far. And they have not really been flying around the court with a ton of urgency thus far. And I think the limitations of their roster might factor into that. Again, only 6 active players today. So conditioning going to play a huge role, and they have not been flying up and down the court the same way that maybe Chapman's varsity teams do. Again, I think Landrum especially plays very, very quickly. And we've seen a comparatively slow pace from the Lady Vikings, and in order to get the separation they might need to at least start thinking about picking things up, but until then, 2 foul shots coming up for the Lady Panthers to stretch the lead back out to 15. First shot is good. 22 on the board for Chapman. 5:41 to play in the fourth. And this shot off the mark, rebounded by Emerald. If they're going to turn on the Jets, now's the perfect time to do it. Akil booking it down the court. And maybe a little too fast. Now they're going to get back outside, flips it over to Bird. And Bird it was going to be a long shot, but she has, off the top of my head, she has not had many shot attempts in this game herself. And McDaniel does a great job of splitting 2 defenders. Lost the ball there for a second, and Blackwell got fouled as she was shooting. That'll be Emerald's 5th foul of the half. And considering how tight their defense has been playing, letting Chapman get into the bonus is the last thing the Lady Vikings need. 5:19 to play in the game. Blackwell's first shot is good. Lead back out to 15 for Chapman. To make it 16. Off the back of the rim, rebounded by Quarles, and heads up play there by Blackwell. Went right for the jump ball. Possession arrow was favoring Chapman, so they'll get it right back. 5 seconds come off the clock. And Chapman will check this one in. There's the ready for play. Going inside, Kayla Harden back in the game and making her presence felt immediately. 2 more points on the board for the Lady Panthers. Off the top of my head, another 3-point, I was about to say, I don't think that we've seen a successful 3-point attempt so far in this game. It has just been so well played by both of these defenses and so little separation to be had on both sides. But in addition to not having any successful field goals, we haven't seen many 3-point attempts. And now a 5-man substitution for Chapman. Katie Whitesides among a slew of other players back in the game now for the Lady Panthers. Shalia Proctor checking in. Tried to get it to Whitesides, and great closing speed there by Lights, and she sends it right back to Proctor, who gets it over to West, and West sends that one up, off the mark, and yeah, I was about to say, that was almost a great balancing act there by Lights, but she just stepped out of bounds. So right back to square one for the Emerald defense. Got to find a way to stop Chapman from scoring here. And they send it right inside. Maccabee had that shot, but whistles blew beforehand. Looks like this one is going against Chapman. So those points are going to come off the board. Lead stays at 17. Waiting for the ready to play. Proctor tried to, that was the exact same design, and Emerald ready for it this time, batted it out of bounds. So now the 4th straight check-in attempt, I believe, for Proctor. She's gotten at least 3 in. Can she pull it off this time? And Chapman, again, they've tried that same play 3 times in a row. Worked the first time, hasn't worked since, and man, they are really letting them play. I appreciate that from the refs. Again, both teams, I mean, they've been playing full court press. Really, they've been playing their hearts out on the defensive side of the ball. I like the no call there, just letting them go at it. And now Morrow was kind of tried to shoot that one off balance. Didn't really get a chance to set her feet. Taken away by the Lady Panthers. Shalia Proctor looking for an opening and has it taken away for a moment. Hops out of bounds. And they're going to say it stays with Emerald. Closing in on the 3.5-minute mark to go in the 4th period. Oh, and a long shot from Brown. Are they going to call that a 2 or a 3? And it will go down as a 2-pointer. But still, got to be a momentum builder for an offense that has really been struggling so far, and this will help them out as well. Whitesides airmailed that one, hops out of bounds. Too tall for the intended target, and now Morrow to check this one in for the Lady Vikings. 3:10 to play. Bird flips it over to Lights. Lights for the long 3, this one off the mark. And now back to Bird. Bird for 3. This one off as well. Hops out of bounds. It'll be Chapman ball. 2:59 to play in the 4th period. More substitutions from Chapman now. And right into the hands of Brown. Now Brown driving, having to fend off Shalia Proctor. Not going to work this time. And now another scramble for it. Brought back in by Keelan. Totally lost her handle on it. She was trying to kind of get that one behind her back, and turn her hips and get it, out of harm's way. And in the process, one of those Lady Panthers, I believe it might have been Proctor, just knocked it right out of her hand. That all happened so fast, I don't even think either of them realized what happened until they heard the whistle. 2:40 to play in the fourth. It is still Emerald ball. Bird going inside to Akil. Akil sends it up, off the mark, rebounded by Proctor, and Proctor gets called for traveling. It'll be Emerald ball. I didn't really see much there. And now Bird for three. This one just off the mark. Brought back in by, that's Maloney. And Maloney driving right to the basket but loses her footing. Gets it over to Proctor. And now Proctor gets called for a double dribble. Is having to fend off. Looked like three defenders all at once. Everybody closing in on her right at the end of that one. Emerald ball with 2:20 to play, and we got a timeout called by the Lady Vikings. Chapman up by 15. Have not seen many points since that last bout of scoring from Emerald. I would imagine one more score would put this one out of reach for sure for the Vikings. But again, their defense has been playing very well. They've just got to get some offensive momentum going. They've been trying for a few more three-point shots in this fourth period. Again, I don't think we've seen a successful three-point attempt from either side, but we've certainly seen more tries at them so far. Assuming Emerald can sink some of those threes, it is only a 5-possession game. But again, I think you can kind of tell just by the body language, conditioning starting to factor in for Emerald as well. Only 6 active players. A lot of them, I believe Bird especially, has been on the court for the entire game. Bird and Morrow, yeah, they have not subbed out at all. They've been on for all 22 minutes to this point, and you can kind of tell that's starting to wear down, or starting to wear on them, I should say. That was Lights trying to drive inside, got fouled. So a bit of a silver lining here for the Lady Vikings. Lights headed to the line. She'll have a chance to get the lead back down to 13. 2 shots coming up. And this one off the mark. This one off as well. Tussle for the ball, and it hops out of bounds. It will stay with Emerald. 1:55 to play in the game. Morrow to check this one in. And now Bird driving for the long two, sends it up and off the inside of the rim. Rebounded by Akil, and Akil can't sink it. Brought back in by Shalia Proctor of the Lady Panthers. Now Proctor has the clear lane, gonna have to take a step back. Instead, tried to send it to the inside, where it's taken right back away by Akil. Bird sending it over to Lights, and Lights could not hang on. It'll be Chapman ball with 94 seconds to go in the game. Lady Panthers up 15. And if they're able to burn just a little more clock on this possession, I think that might do it. Violet Arias in the game now for Chapman. And looks like we got a violation. I think Maloney might have crossed the line before she threw that one. So it'll go right back to Emerald. Morrow to check this one in. 1:34. And right off the leg of Maloney, Morrow threw it right to her, and now this is number 32 with a clear line to the goal, but misses the layup, shot it too late, and I think we got a foul called against Proctor. Yep, called against Akil. And, yep, they're going to call this on a shooting foul. Shalia Proctor headed to the line. If she makes both of these, Chapman will be up 17, and that will be more than enough to finish this one off. 85 seconds to play. This one off the mark. If Proctor misses this one, it's still a 5-possession game. And she is on target. Make it a 6-possession lead for Chapman now. 26-10. And Emerald does not look to be in much of a hurry here. Bird taking her time. She's really took her time all game. And a long three-pointer. That's our first successful three of the game. Lights finally able to sink one. And Bird trying to notch a steal. Proctor, not a lot of room to work there, and they're going to say it sticks with Chapman. Hopped out of bounds. Clock stops at 59.1. Got a few more substitutions for the Lady Panthers now. Looks like the reserve's getting some experience now, and this one almost taken away, indeed taken away by Bird, and sinks it, but she gets called for traveling before the shot. That one stings. Had a clear line to the goal and maybe got a little bit too excited on that one. 54 seconds to play. Chapman with the ball and the lead, and Proctor trying to beat a trap block. Whistle sound, and didn't see what the foul was, but it's going to go against the Lady Panthers, so right back to Emerald. And now Lights going for the long three, but got whistles, and they're going to call it for a double dribble. Maybe thought about the setup of that one for too long. 44.9 seconds to play in this one. Elizabeth Maloney checks it into Proctor. Clock continues to roll, closing in on 40 seconds now. Arias sends it inside, and that was number 21, Mariah Johnson, off the mark. Rebounded by Lights. Lights driving, and yep, called for traveling. 30.6 seconds left to go now. So both offenses, for the most part, really struggling in this second half. And the story so far has been that first half lead that Chapman was able to build. Again, only 2 points scored in the first half for Emerald. And now Emerald with a chance to notch a few more. 7 seconds left, and the layup is good from Bird, so they'll have something to build on the bus ride home. Looks like the game is going to close, and there's the buzzer. So Chapman wins it, a slugfest, a defensive showdown. Reminds me of some of those old football scores from the 1900s, your 3-0 games, something like that. Chapman wins it in a defensive showdown. 26-15 the final. We've got tip-off for the varsity game. I believe it was slated for 7:30. But yeah, the boys team is about to enter frame here in a second for warm-ups. If I had to guess, they're going to start this one at like 7:10 or 7:15, because the boys, I saw them, they were warming up in the auxiliary gym as this game was going on. And yep, they've already got the scoreboard reset. No time on the clock right now, but don't go anywhere. Tip off, yep, they've got the clock set for 10 minutes now, so go grab something to drink. Tip off slated to, or tip off between the boys, just a few moments away. 10 minutes on the clock. Chapman already on the court. All right, so we are about ready for tip-off between the Panthers and the Vikings here. The Lady Panthers were able to defeat the Lady Vikings earlier by a 26-15 margin in a very defensively minded first game. I imagine just from watching these teams in warm-ups, they seem to have a lot more momentum, a lot more speed, so I imagine that they're going to back off a little bit and we'll see a much higher scoring game. Now, we have not gotten rosters for Emerald quite yet. We will work on those. I'll probably send our cameraman down in a moment to try and round those up for us. So until then, we've only got Chapman's. And looks like we got foul called already. Starting lineup for the Panthers, I'm seeing Nigel Pate. He has had a lot of steals so far this year. Number 22, Dalton Mahaffey. Number 11, Daniel Johnson. Number 20, Coleman Gray, and number 44, unlisted on this roster. Got to get updated rosters for both teams, I suppose. Chapman up 2-0. I unfortunately did not see them score. I guess I was too focused trying to get those rosters. Pate making his way down the court. Second foul shot is good for Emerald, and now a takeaway. And that one kind of up for grabs and brought back in by Pate. And Pate just going to swing it down the court. And great job by Mahaffey to keep it in play, but it falls into the hands of the Vikings. Now making their way down the court. This one tipped and brought in by Daniel Johnson. Or check that, that is Coleman Gray, and Gray sends it out of bounds. It'll be Emerald ball. Action-packed first 46 seconds or so. And going right for the basket, now taking a few steps back. They get it over to 24 motions, 10 across, 10 looking, and now looking to get back out, slinging it over, and almost taken away by Johnson. Emerald kind of feeling things out at this point, and now a long three-point attempt coming up, just off the rim, and rebounded by Chapman. 4:40 to play in the first period. Nigel Pate going inside to Mahaffey, and Mahaffey off the rim, rebounded, and then taken away by Emerald. And now trying to make a race for the goal, and hesitated maybe a little bit too much, had trouble securing that pass. And now Daniel Johnson setting up for three, got it! Great shot from Daniel Johnson. And the Panthers jump out to a 2-score lead. And Emerald tried to go inside, nothing doing. They do get it back, and still up in the air, taken away by Daniel Johnson. Gray forced the turnover. Johnson tries to go underhand, misses, but rebounded. And Pate thought about three. Now Johnson for three, and that would have been an amazing shot. It bounced off the top of the backboard. And nothing doing here. Looks like we got a foul called going against number 10 of Emerald. And now Coleman Gray headed to the free throw line for Chapman. First shot for Gray is good. Second shot is as well. Chapman out to a 6-point lead early in this one. And almost taken away by Johnson. 10 is really had a busy game so far. Got to get a name on him at least. And now Nigel Pate to check in for the Panthers. Turnover forced by Chapman. And now Dalton Mahaffey for the long three. Got it! Chapman up by 9. It's a 3-possession game. Emerald making their way down the court. Pate tried to take that one away, and not going to work this time. Got a foul called against the Panthers. Coleman Gray, the guilty party there. 2 free throw attempts coming up for Emerald. First one rolls in. Still a 3-possession game. 3:43 to play in the first. Second shot goes off the front of the rim, rebounded by Nigel Pate. Pate takes a moment to slow down and tried to get it over to Daniel Johnson, and I mean, that one was really well covered. That did not have a shot of making it over to Johnson. Great coverage defensively from Emerald. They'll get the ball back. 3:35 to play in the first. The Vikings down by 8. Both offenses have played with a lot of momentum so far. A 3-possession deficit, not too tall of an order to come back from, especially with a big center like that able to sink a 2-point shot. Down to a 2-possession game now. Gray tried to flip it out over to Ryan Hunter, and now with a clear line to the goal, number 3 for Emerald, off the mark. Had to shoot that one backwards to avoid Daniel Johnson, and it's brought back in by the Panthers. Ryan Hunter trying to shake his man halfway through the first period. Hunter, I don't know how he didn't get called for traveling there, but it's rebounded by the Panthers, and now they sink it. Back out to an 8-point lead for Chapman. 9 is the largest the deficit has been for the Vikings so far. And splitting some defenders, going right inside and off the mark, rebounded by Chapman. Hunter shakes his man for a moment, had it taken away, and gets it back. Mahaffey for 3, almost. And man, great balancing act there by number 44 to keep that in play. Coleman Gray for 3, this one off as well. Scramble for the ball, and Dalton Mahaffey hangs on to it, but sends it across half court. Emerald's got one man to beat, and I think we got a charging foul called. No, a blocking foul called against Coleman Gray. So Emerald headed to the line again. 2:16 to play in the first period. And now a 5-man substitution for the Panthers. Hudson Moss, Sean Cunningham, Jacob Cogdell, Matthias Scott, and number 42, Harrison Bridges, all in the game. And they were actually going to say that was a 3-point play attempt. So lead is down to 6 again. Chapman jumped out to, a big lead. It was a 9-point deficit within the first 2 minutes or so, and they've really gone blow for blow with Emerald since then. Have not been able to recreate that success, partially because of turnovers like that. And now flipping it back outside. Emerald going inside now, and that's taken away. Sean Cunningham broke it up. Jacob Cogdell has it now. Cogdell flips it over to Moss. And Moss, trying to box his men out, gets it over to Cunningham. Cunningham goes inside to Bridges for 2, off the mark, up for grabs, and brought back in by the Panthers. Moss gets, just shoved down. Yeah, and foul called against number 3 of Emerald. That was definitely incidental, I think. Just a little love tap by mistake there from Emerald. Moss had a lot of momentum when he was trying to cut outside. He's been making some really hard cuts so far in this game. And now Cogdell flips it out to Cunningham. Cunningham drives inside, tries to split from defenders, and it rolls in! Sean Cunningham with his first points of the game. Emerald playing a little cat and mouse. And now number 2 driving right inside and sinks that one. Again, still going blow for blow with the Panthers. Moss slings it over to Cogdell, back to Moss. Moss driving inside, tried to get it to Bridges, and whistles blow as the pass is thrown, and it goes against Chapman. Emerald ball. 1:22 to play in the first. Been a slow-going first period so far. At least time-wise, on the court, the action has been very fast-paced. And 24 rolls in, and now a chance for a 3-point play coming up for Emerald. If they can hit this free throw, it will be back within 1 possession. 72 seconds left to play in the first period. And that shot is good. 3-point game. Matthias Scott gets it over to Moss, to Cunningham. Cunningham driving and has it taken away. But they will keep this one with the Panthers. Foul called against Emerald. Looks like we might have had a reach. .67 seconds to go in the first period. Moss to check this one in. Looking. They were trying to set up Cogdell for three, it looked like. Well played by Emerald, and now Matthias Scott for three, off the rim, rebounded by Cogdell. Cogdell gets it to Cunningham, now for another three-pointer. This one off as well, and brought back in by Emerald. Number three's got one man to beat it. It's Moss, jumps right into him, and they're gonna call that a charging foul. So take those points off the board for the Vikings. Still a three-point game. 50.5 seconds to go in the first period. 4 fouls already for both teams. Oh, and taken right away. And still loose. Emerald's got it now for the two from inside the paint. No, rebounded and looking to get some separation. Can't quite find it going inside. Harrison Bridges on the defensive. Oh, and number two's all alone from the three-point line. We got a tied game. Beautiful shot there from Emerald. Under 30 to play in the first period. Emerald has come all the way back after going down 10 to 1 to start the game. Cogdell looking, gets it inside to Scott. Scott takes a step back, and they're going to call him for traveling. Ball goes back to Emerald with 11.6 seconds to play in the first period. The Vikings looking for their first lead of the game. And Sean Cunningham takes that one away, gets fouled. Emerald's 5th foul in the first period alone. 9.4 seconds to play in the first. Sean Cunningham headed to the line. Somehow or another, Chapman got another point in there. It's 15 to 14 now, or no, they're going to give that one to Emerald, actually. I think they're calling, yeah, they must have called one of those long twos to three, and I didn't catch it. 15-14 in favor of Emerald. Cunningham's first shot goes off the rim. This to tie the game. Got it. Clock is not yet started, and that one going right out of bounds. Chapman doing everything they could to get a takeaway there, but not happening quite yet. 8.1 seconds on the clock in the first period now. Emerald still looking for they did lead by one a few moments ago. Sean Cunningham was able to tie it back up on a free throw attempt. Moss falls over and gets back up. Everybody across half court now. Buzzer beater shot from Emerald, and no good. So, man, what a game. At the end of the first period, we're all knotted up at 15. Don't go anywhere. This is going to be a good one. Back in a few moments. We'll try and secure an Emerald roster in the meantime. All right, and we are ready to start the second period. I've sent our cameraman down to retrieve that roster, so I'm not going to be able to update the scoreboard. I've got camera duty now, so if my voice gets a little quiet for the time being, that's why. And already missing action. Foul called against the Vikings. Starters back in the game for Chapman. Johnson checks it into Pate. And now Pate driving inside, flips it over to Mahaffey. Mahaffey for three, off the rim and up for grabs, rebounded by Emerald. Making their way down the court, got a full head of steam and off the mark, back into the hands of the Panthers now. Pate looking, driving, tries to flip it back out, and they call him for traveling. Emerald just slinging this one up for number 10. He's able to come down with it, and one was not ready for the pass, and taken right away by Dalton Mahaffey, going for the layup and overshoots it. Had some pressure coming in from that Emerald defense. Now Nigel Pate for three, off the mark, and now Mahaffey wanted to set up. Great closing speed from the Emerald defenders. And Coleman Gray looking for three. Chapman not doing a lot of negotiating so far. They really want this long shot. And now they're going to settle for it. Maybe. Nope. Driving inside. Coleman Gray 6 for 2 point. Chapman back out in the lead. 17 to 15. I'll update the scoreboard in a moment. I see our cameraman coming back into frame. And this one up for grabs. Brought back in by Emerald. And now for the 2-point shot. It's good. Tied game. 17-17. Johnson checks it into Pate. Back to Johnson. Johnson driving, goes up and gets fouled. Awesome, thank you. Can you send that to me?
It'll take a second to come through though.
That's fine. All right, and we have gotten Emerald's roster. 17 to 17. Fast-paced, a lot of momentum for both sides offensively. They are moving with some urgency, but not a ton of points so far in the second period. 4:20 to play before halftime. Coleman Gray flips it over to Pate. Now Pate trying to escape a block, does so, no. Timeout called by Chapman. All right, back out of that timeout. Chapman tied with Emerald, 17-17. We have got the Emerald roster finally. Number 1 is Caleb Benson. Number 10, Judah Davenport. Could be Davenport, not entirely sure on the pronunciation there. Number 24, the center, Don Travis Jackson, actually. And now flipping this one down the court, that's Davenport for number 12, Chance Battus. And up for grabs again. And Jackson not able to hang on to that one, taken away by the Panthers. Pate flinging it down the court. And he's got his man for a moment, hops out of bounds, and heads up play there by number 44 of the Panthers to let that one go. It will stay with Chapman. Keenan Marshall, number 2 for the Emerald Vikings, and looks like Marshall rounds out the starting lineup for Emerald. Driving inside is number 44 for Chapman, tried to tap it in, not going to work. Rebounded by Davenport. Davenport flinging it over to Benson, and now Benson looking to get outside. Flips it over to Marshall. Marshall wanted to go in for 2. Sank the shot anyway, but it was after the whistle. They call him for traveling. 3:27 to play in the second. No points since that timeout. Still all knotted up at 17. Johnson flips it over to Pate. Pate catches the block and now flips it back out to Coleman Gray. Gray trying to shake Pettis. And now Daniel Johnson for 3. Had a man in his face, but 6 it anyway. Chapman up 20 to 17. And now really threading some defenders was number 2, Marshall. Flipped it over to Benson, and Benson could not sink the bank shot. Under 3 to play in the second period. Pate gets it over to Johnson for another 3 attempt. Johnson is 2 for 4 on three-pointers, but it's rebounded by Pate, and Pate overshoots it. And number 44 got fouled as he was shooting that one. Chapman with a chance to take a 2-possession lead, and looks like that second set of players is getting ready to come in. 5-man substitution on the horizon for Chapman. They're all lined up just out of frame. First shot for the Panthers is good. Second shot off the mark and rebounded by Matthias Scott. Scott loses his handle on it, brings it back in. Now Cogdill for 3, just off the mark, and rebounded by Torian Sullivan of the Vikings. Sullivan flips it out to Davenport. Davenport for the bank shot, and what a shot from Judah Davenport. And Scott makes Davenport miss, sends it inside to the center. And now backing up, great shot from number 44. We'll have to get a name on him as well. He's not listed on the Chapman roster, a new addition since the beginning of the season. And taken away, now headed down the court is Hudson Moss. Got one man to beat and cannot pull it off, but it stays in bounds. Great play to keep that one in play. Sean Cunningham goes up, flips it back out to Moss. Moss going to drive inside and flipping it, or tried to get it to Cogdill. Ill-advised pass and taken away by Batu. And Batu sends it out of bounds for Emerald. Right back into the hands of the Panthers. Hudson Moss to check this one in. Got another substitution now. 44 exits the game. He'll be replaced by number 30. That's Dawson Waters, but not before a timeout. 1:49 to play in the second period. Chapman only up by 3. Still very much anyone's ball game, and I can see Coach grabbing the whiteboard over there. They're going to try and draw something up here. Back in a moment. All right, and we are out of that timeout now. It's Chapman up by 3. Both offenses starting to find a little bit of a rhythm after kind of losing it. There was a timeout taken right around the 4.5-minute mark earlier in this period. And after that, the defense has really stepped up for a few minutes. Now the offense is starting to find a little bit of a groove. Sean Cunningham sends it up, off the mark, rebounded by Cunningham, and then taken away by the Vikings. Dontavius Jackson, the man responsible for that takeaway. Davenport has it now, and Hudson Moss steals it, loose ball, and it's going to hop out of bounds. And the officials, no signal yet. Looks like it's going to stay with Emerald. And indeed it will. Vikings ball, Davenport trying to get it inside to Benson, does so. And now Benson taking a few steps back, looking, going inside for Patu, now to Jackson. Jackson from the center position, got it. Chapman has shot 3s more consistently. Emerald working more consistently from inside the paint, and Dawson Waters. The commentators cursed, just as I said, Chapman has mostly been getting it done from behind the line. Waters gets fouled. Now an opportunity for a 3-point play coming up. 59.9 seconds to go in the first half. Waters to put the Panthers up by 2 possessions. And he can't pull it off. Still a 1-possession game. Rebounded by Jackson. And now a little spin move from Sullivan. Back to Jackson, over to Benson. Benson makes a man miss for the long 2. Just off the mark and brought back in by Matthias Scott. Scott gets it over to Cogdill. Cogdill looking. Back to Scott. Driving inside. Scott. It was a contested shot, but he sinks it. 27-22 in favor of the Panthers. 32.6 seconds left to go in the first period. Substitution now. Hudson Moss exiting the game. He's replaced by Daniel Johnson. The Panthers may be wanting to try and get a few more three-point attempts in before the buzzer. And this one taken away by the Panthers. Errant pass from Davenport. Johnson driving inside, loses his handle on it. Loose ball and brought back in by Davenport. Whistles blow. And this one will stay with Emerald. 17.8 seconds to go in the half. Sullivan taking this one across half court, driving, wants to do it himself, and off the mark, gets it the second time. One possession game. Sean Cunningham with 5 seconds loses his footing, and the clock will stop at 4.2. Foul called against the Vikings. That is their 7th, and Sean Cunningham is going to go to the line. If he makes this, Chapman goes up by 2 possessions, possibly into the locker room. Emerald will really only have time for a buzzer beater shot to close out the first half. They've got Davenport on the other side of the court. Could be something to keep an eye on, and Cunningham's shot is good. 28-24 in favor of the Panthers. 4.2 seconds on the clock, and a second shot coming up for Cunningham. He's 2 for 3 so far. Make it 3 for 4, 29-24, and I think we got a timeout called. Nope, substitutions from Chapman. Sean Cunningham exits the game, number 44 back in. And clock starts now. Benson for the buzzer beater 3 off the mark. And that will bring an end to the first period. I'm sad that one had to end. That was a great half of basketball. 10 minutes on the clock, and the third period cannot come soon enough. Don't go anywhere, folks. This is going to be a good one. Right down to the wire, I imagine. Chapman up by 5, 29-24 when we come back to start the third period. righty, and man, I went by fast, but I tell you, the start of this third period just could not come fast enough. That was an awesome first 12 minutes of basketball between the Emerald Vikings and the Chapman Panthers. Chapman got the better of that one, up by 5, 29-24 at the start of the third period, but that one really could have gone either way. Both teams played lights out, both offensively and defensively, and Nigel Payton notching an early steal here. Has to split 2 defenders. I don't know how he got out of that, and then overshoots the layup, rebounded by Judah Davenport. Had a big first half and sends us out of bounds by mistake. Johnson tried to reel that one in, but a little too late. Johnson checking it in to Coleman Gray. Gray in some trouble. Shakes his defenders and now gets it out to Johnson. Johnson slinging it over to Mahaffey. Mahaffey driving inside, looking for 2. Got it! And now an opportunity for a 3-point play coming up. Emerald let Chapman get into the bonus late. They've had a lot of fouls so far. Their first one comes just 29 seconds into the third period. Dalton Mahaffey to make it an 8-point game. Got it. So Chapman strikes first to begin the third period. Emerald looking to get across half court. Nice move from Davenport. Finds Patu, and Patu whistles sound, and Chapman is going to get the ball right back. Coleman Gray looking for an opening, flips it out to Pate. Pate for 3, and almost had it, and then batted up by Dalton Mahaffey. Nice play on the rebound there, and now that's Coleman Gray again, this time for 2. Can't connect here, but he rebounds his own shot and sinks it. Biggest lead of the game for Chapman, now up by 10, but we got fouls going against the Panthers. Emerald's going to get the ball back. Tyler Rude to check this one in. He gets it over to Patu. Patu taking a step back, gets it to Sullivan. Now Torian Sullivan driving, wants to do it himself. Nice shot from Sullivan. Back down to an 8-point game, 34-26. Man, that was a long pass, and Mahaffey somehow came down with it. Emerald does end up with the ball, though. And now Sullivan going to try it again. Man, exact same play, and he does it twice in a row. Down to a 2-possession game, and now still a 2-possession game. Timeout called by the Panthers. And they certainly need to take a break there. They come out the gate with 5 unanswered, and then Emerald answers right back with 6 straight. A tale of 2 minutes, really. 4:18 to play in the third. So, I mean, just about a minute ago, Chapman was up by 10. Emerald has cut right back into that lead. It will be Panther ball to start out of that timeout. Daniel Johnson will check in for the Panthers. And now they're setting some guys up. They get it to Pate. Pate looking to get rid of this thing. Finds Johnson. Now Johnson gets it to Mahaffey. Headed down the court. Mahaffey for 2. Off the mark and rebounded by number 23. That is Bryson Mitchell. And now Rude looking to get it to one of his teammates and was batted up but taken in by, that was Judah Davenport, and airmails it out of bounds. So right back to square one. A few seconds come off the clock. 3:55 to play in this third period. Johnson looking for an open man. Gets it over to Gray, and ball's loose. Brought back in by Gray. And now he flips it to Johnson. Johnson gets to Pate. Pate for three off the front of the rim and batted up. Brought back in by Coleman Gray. And now Dalton Mahaffey setting up for three. This one's short as well. Rebounded by Daniel Johnson, who gets it to Pate. Third time's the charm, perhaps. Yes, it is! Nigel Pate with an excellent bank shot there. Chapman back out in front by 3 possessions, and we got whistles. This one going against Daniel Johnson, so Emerald will hang on to the ball. 3:21 to play in the third period. Judah Davenport to check this one in, but not after some substitutions, or Davenport exits the game. Caleb Benson and looks like Keenan Marshall in now for Emerald. And this is Chance Batou driving inside, and he sinks a 2-pointer. Still a 2-possession game. Chapman up by 5 now. Pate gets it over to Johnson, back to Pate. Now Pate getting it over to Mahaffey, and Mahaffey setting up for 3, almost. Brought in by Coleman Gray for the contested 2. Can't get this one up for grabs, loose. And now Chapman taking a few steps back. Johnson driving in, tries to underhand it, and he's got the shot. Chapman answers back out to a 7-point lead with under 3 to play in the third. Benson in some serious trouble, but gets out of it. And now Sullivan just going to take the 3-pointer and gets it. Barely even set up for that one. 2.5 minutes to play in period number 3. Johnson slinging it for Mahaffey. Mahaffey back to Johnson. Back to Mahaffey. Back to Johnson. That is Coleman Gray inside. Now Johnson, oh, he wanted to go for 3, but that window closed very quickly. Oh, and this one taken away. What a play by Chance Batou. Goes up, and he's got it. It is a 2-point game. Nigel Pate gets it over to Gray. Gray tried to take a step back, and he lost the ball. Brought in by Emerald. This is Batou again. And that window at the layup closes up quickly. Mahaffey had the ball for a second, still loose, and whistles blow. Emerald seems to think they have it. And we got 3 substitutions for Chapman, it looks like. Sean Cunningham, Matthias Scott, and Hudson Moss entering the game. The ball will stay with Emerald. Benson has it, motioning some men around. And now flips it over to Sullivan. Sullivan gets it to Marshall, and Marshall for 3, off the mark, rebounded by Gray. He has had a very busy period rebounding the ball, and now whistles blow. Did we get a timeout? No, foul called against Emerald, it looks like. And Scott will check this one in for the Panthers. 90 seconds to play in the third period. Clock is running. Moss gets it to Scott, and Scott gets called for traveling. So now Emerald's going to get it. 85 seconds to play in the third. Down by 2. They can take the lead with a 3-point shot. Both teams looking to be the first to crack 40. And now Sullivan drives right inside and can't connect. Rebounded by the center. He gets it over to Moss, and Moss drives and shot that one underneath the rim. Couldn't get it, but the ball will stay with Chapman. Moss to check this one in now. Would like to remind all of our viewers that we have got a packed streaming schedule coming up. 3 more events set to be streamed this week alone, 2 at Landrum and 1 more at Chapman. Tomorrow, we've got varsity basketball at Landrum against Brashier Middle College. That is senior night for the basketball team. And then on Thursday, we've got wrestling at Landrum against Chesney. That is senior night for Landrum's wrestling team. And then on Friday, the big one, to close out the week, Chapman taking on their division rivals Clinton in a varsity basketball matchup. You're not going to want to miss that one. You're not going to want to miss any of these games. Make sure you subscribe to the Chapman High School Athletics channel and turn on notifications. That way you will be alerted every time we set up a stream and every time we go live on one of those streams. Thank you for subscribing. And Chapman was able to sink a 2-pointer during my little monologue, and Emerald responds with a 3. Both teams over 40 now. Emerald very slowly cutting into this lead now. Matthias Scott getting it inside. Cunningham looking for 2 and loses the ball. Brought back in by Torian Sullivan. Sullivan driving, sends it up, but got fouled by Waters. And are they going to call this? Yes, a shooting foul. So Torian Sullivan headed to the line with the chance to give Emerald the lead. Emerald has had the lead a couple of times, but Chapman has been in front for the vast majority of this game. And Sullivan's got it tied up. Second shot upcoming. 26.5 seconds left to go in the third period. From the line, Sullivan flips it up, got the lead. Emerald back out in front. And Pate checks it into Hudson Moss. Moss picking up some speed, now slows down. Daniel Johnson for three, off the mark, and brought back in by Emerald. 15 seconds to go, they've got time to score again. And I don't know, what a balancing act from Marshall. Staying in bounds, 7 seconds left, rebounded by Chapman, clock is rolling. Moss loses the ball. Emerald's just gonna sling this one up there. Oh man, he almost got it. That was closer than it had any right to be. Sullivan didn't have time to set up in the slightest. Threw that one off his back foot and with his hips turned and almost got it. Man, don't go anywhere. This has been one heck of a game, and it's gonna come down to the fourth period. Whoever wins these last 6 minutes is going to win the game. Chapman down by one, Emerald winning 42-41. Don't go anywhere, this is gonna be good. All right, so I think the clock operator was just as ready to start this fourth period as I was. Both teams might have gotten like 30 seconds on the bench to get their wits about them and dive headlong into the final 6 minutes. And it almost started with a three-point attempt from Matthias Scott. He hesitated, and now Scott gonna drive inside, flips it out to Nigel Pate, all alone. Pate for three, and he's got it! Chapman retakes the lead. 42-44, and Pate trying to steal it away. I'm not sure if that was a timeout or a foul, and they do call that a push against Nigel Pate. That's Chapman's fifth foul of the half. Caleb Benson to check this one in for the Vikings. And he hands it off to Sullivan, driving right up the sideline. Now going inside, flips it to Jackson. Oh, man! Oh, my! 44 was having none of that. Blocked that one. I mean, that was the perfect blocked shot. Absolutely textbook, and Chapman takes it away. Benson threw it right into the chest of Coleman Gray, and now a foul called against Emerald. That blocked shot looking to be a momentum builder for the Panthers, both offensively and defensively. And a shooting foul called against Emerald, so now Matthias Scott heading to the line. If he sinks both of these, he can get the Panthers out to another two-possession lead. As it stands now, it's 44-42. Scott concentrating, shots up, and this one rolls out. It was in there for a second. Coach signaling for him to follow through. Daniel Johnson getting ready to sub in for the Panthers. Scott, no follow through on this one either. And whistles sounded as the shot left his hand. Only saw the second half of this signal. Are they saying it's going to stay with Chapman? I'm really not sure what the ref's pointing at. Because it looks like it's going to be Emerald ball. Caleb Benson will check this one in. And he flips over to Keenan Marshall. Marshall booking it down the court. Gets it to Jackson, and this shot will not be blocked, but it is off the mark. Goes for it a second time and can't connect, rebounded by Coleman Gray. Daniel Johnson headed down the court, wants to go inside, splits defenders off the mark, but rebounded by number 44. Jump ball, and it'll go to Emerald. Possession arrow will flip back to Chapman. We have not seen a lot of jump balls really in either game, but especially this one. And now Marshall takes a step back, gets it to Benson. Benson back to Marshall for three. This one off the mark. And loose, brought in by Daniel Johnson of Chapman. Johnson almost bounced it off the ref there. Nigel Payne had to box him out almost. Oh, and Payne has it stolen away. That's Torian Sullivan. He's put the team on his back, and he's got it tied up. 44-44. Chapman wasting no time here. Daniel Johnson gets it to Gray. Back to Johnson. Wanted to go for three. Nice defense there by the Vikings, and they take it away once more. Fouled. Yep. SWAT called against Coleman Gray. It'll be Emerald ball. And now a timeout called by the Panthers. 4:27 to decide who wins this one. All knotted up at 44. So here we go. 44-44 with 4:27 to play in the fourth period. Both teams itching for a win. And Marshall trying to shake Johnson, gets it inside. Rude is all alone from the free throw line and can't connect. Up for grabs and rebounded by who else but Coleman Gray. And now an ill-advised pass from Nigel Pate, just threw it up for grabs. And who are they going to rule this for? Got a jump ball, and it's going to go to the Panthers. Matthias Scott subbing in now for Nigel Pate. They have not flipped that possession arrow back, or now they have. Possession is back with Emerald. So the next jump ball will go to them. Daniel Johnson trying to do it himself. Instead, an inadvertent pass to Doug Mahaffey, and it pays off. He lost his handle on the ball, and it fell right into Mahaffey's lap, and he just said, thank you, I'll take that. Shot a three-pointer. Now Chapman up 47-44. Torian Sullivan taking a step back to examine the defensive front. Now drives inside, somehow avoids the traveling call and sinks the two-pointer. Scott sends it inside. Gray flips it out to Mahaffey for another three, and Mahaffey's got this one too. Two-possession lead for the Panthers. Timeout called. Looks like it was by Chapman. 50-46. 3:22 to play in the fourth period. And it is 8:04. So, well, for the big name games like that, they usually take like 15 minutes for pregame festivities and all. So, just a quick reminder, the College Football Playoff National Championship tonight, I've definitely been looking forward to that one. Slated to start at 8 p.m., but again, for big games like that, especially a national championship, they will probably take about until 8:15 to actually start playing the game, which is, by the current pace of things, I imagine right when we're going to get finished. So as soon as we're done here, we should spit you right out at the biggest game of the college football season. Benson looking for an open man, getting it to Sullivan. Nice setup from Emerald. Sullivan driving, tries to split some defenders, backhands it, and off the mark, but rebounded by Jackson, and Jackson sinks it from inside the paint. Emerald still down by 2. Matthias Scott gets it to Gray. Gray was not ready for it, has it stolen away. Loose ball, still loose, and now Mahaffey sends it out of bounds. Emerald will hang on to the ball. 2:58 to play now. Halfway through the fourth period. Chapman up by 2, but the lead has been going back and forth. Chapman is led by as much as 10 points in this game. Emerald has done their job. They have clawed back into it when they've been down, and they've made quick work of coming back into it too, but this may not help them. Taken away by the Panthers. Dalton Mahaffey flips it over to Johnson. Wanted to go for 3. Great defense by Marshall, and Johnson had to send that one up without setting up and got whistles. Marshall was really making a beeline for the goal there, but not fast enough to outrun the officials. Didn't see what that was for, but it's going to remain Emerald ball. 2:40 to play. Benson checks it into Sullivan. Sullivan back to Benson. Benson headed up the sideline, now takes a step back, sends it to Rude. Over to Sullivan, and Cunningham takes it away! Got one man to beat, Sean Cunningham! Sinks it! And he'll have a chance for a 3-point play! What a play by Sean Cunningham! He was behind the backboard by the time that ball left his hand. And now we'll have a chance to put the Panthers up by 5. 52-48. Sean Cunningham from the line. He's 3 for 4 on free throws so far. And make it 3 for 5. He can't take this one. Short hopped it, but it's rebounded by Dalton Mahaffey. Mahaffey looking, flips it out to Scott. Back to Mahaffey. Back to Scott. Okay, this is an interesting decision. Is Chapman in a conscious clock burning mode right now? Emerald certainly isn't. Driving to the goal and got it. Keenan Marshall draws the Vikings back within 1 possession. 50 on the board for both teams. And Dalton Mahaffey for 3. He's been lights out so far, but can't connect this time. Rebounded by Jackson, and he hands it to Sullivan. 1:45 to play. And now Benson for 3 in the lead, off the mark, and rebounded by Chapman. Coleman Gray sends it to Scott, loose, but Scott gets it back. Driving inside, Scott. No foul called, and Scott tried to keep it inside, but it bounces off the leg of one of his teammates. It'll be Emerald ball, 91 seconds to play, and a timeout called, or no, a substitution actually. Matthias Scott exits the game. He's replaced by Nigel Pate. Nigel Pate, not so much in this game, but earlier in the season at least, has had a lot of steals. Could be something to keep an eye on. Clock is running, under 90 seconds now. Sullivan, that one was tipped by Tate. Caleb Benson trying to box Pate out. Now back to Sullivan. And now Emerald kind of taking their time here. And oh no, all alone, but great closing speed from Gray. That one goes up, and there was a foul called. And you can hear the crowd. They did not think there was anything on that one. It was I really think you could have called that either way. But the refs have been, they kind of let the girls play in that first game, and since then they've been pretty strict. To tie the game, first shot is good. This Chapman crowd making all the noise they can. 72 seconds to play in this one. The shot is good. Ice in the veins of Keenan Marshall. Tied game. 70 seconds to play. And Chapman has an interesting decision with no shot clock. Do they try and run this all the way down? It's a team I've seen a lot of football. It's a strategy I've seen a lot of football teams use, but they're going to try and go inside with Gray, and Gray sinks it! 51 seconds now. Chapman up by 2. And this one almost taken away by Gray. Instead, Benson making a beeline to the goal. He lost the ball. Nigel Pate takes it away. Dalton Mahaffey sending it. Oh, what a catch from Coleman Gray. Going up, and a 2-possession lead for the Panthers. Timeout called by Emerald. 31.4 seconds to go. And now the Vikings with some serious ground to make up. What a turn of events. Nigel Pate setting the foundation to get the Panthers up by 2 scores with just 30 seconds to play. 56-52, still anyone's ball game, but Emerald got to get something going. They are in the bonus, so that'll help. Chapman has fouled them 7 times in this half. I tell you, I've been streaming games for 4 years. You know, all sorts of sports, especially with District 1. We've done a lot of different types of games. And there were 2 that really stood out to me. Those being, actually, make it 4 now. The Landrum versus Chapman JV game earlier this year. I believe that was the first Landrum game we did basketball-wise. And then Landrum versus Boiling Springs at the Battle of the Border. The Carolina Predators at the Southern Steam in Jacksonville, Florida. All those games went down to the wire, and it looks like this one might as well. And Chapman doesn't realize they've got the ball. And they flip it out to Gray. 17 seconds left to go, and Gray gets fouled. 15.3 seconds to go. Coleman Gray headed to the line. If he misses these, we play on. If he makes them, it could be lights out. Or no, that's not a shooting foul. Sean Cunningham to check this one in, and everybody right at half court. It's a timeout called by the Panthers. They're going to need one, both sides, I imagine. Whew. Man, you could cut the tension in here with a knife. This has been quite a game. As I was saying, there have been really 3 games, 4 now after this one, that have really stood out to me as just some of the best sporting events I've ever streamed, some of the best sporting events I've ever seen with my own 2 eyes in person. Television's a different story. But yeah, the Southern Steam against the Carolina Predators, we went down to Jacksonville and played that one. I mean, in the height of the pandemic, these guys were just really desperate to play football there. The Southern Steam had their arena set up. They were hockey walls on top of an indoor soccer field in what used to be a Sam's Club turned a sporting complex down in Jacksonville. The Predators won that one on a bad snap that was run in by running back Cedric Proctor for the game-winning touchdown with 5.7 seconds left. And then the Predators still almost lost that one. The Steam had one last pass that came up just a yard short of the end zone. But this one, I mean, this is up there with the Predators versus the Steam, and the Cardinals versus the Panthers, and the Cardinals versus the Bulldogs. I mean, just a legendary game all around. And it really is a shame that somebody's got to come away with a loss here, because both teams have just played so well. It's one of those games where, you know, you kind of go to the SHL afterward and say, hey, can we just give both teams the win? Because they really have earned it. But Chapman with 6.9 seconds left. Emerald just doing everything they can to try and get the ball back. And time ticks off the clock there. 5.1 seconds left. It's not out of the question if they're able to notch a turnover here. But can they do it? Chapman's got to check it in above all else. Johnson getting it to Gray. Gray goes up, climbs the ladder, and goes for the kill shot. He's got it! Chapman's going to win it! What a game! What a game! And the Panthers defeat the Vikings 58-54. And man, above all else, what a gutsy move by Coleman Gray. He'd had one heck of a game to that point. From inside the paint, both offensively and on the rebound, he had been absolutely ballistic, especially in that 4th period. Johnson gets him the ball, and instead of running out the clock or, you know, just kind of dancing around, he says, you know what, I'm going to put this thing away. Goes inside, sends it up, and sinks the layup that puts Emerald away. What a game. Certainly within the top 5 of all the games I've ever broadcast. That was something else, and fortunately it will be immortalized on YouTube for all of the Chapman Panthers and Emerald Vikings to see in the future. What a game. Shame it had to end. It's a shame one of those teams had to lose again. They both played their hearts out for that one. Now, for those of you that have not subscribed, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the Chapman High School Athletics channel and turn on notifications. That way you will be alerted on your smartphone or tablet or mobile device whenever we set up a live stream and whenever we go live on one of those streams. Moreover, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications for the Landrum High School Athletics channel. That is where we will be streaming our next 2 events. This is a packed week for us. This was the first of 4 in 5 days. Tomorrow, varsity basketball at Landrum, senior night against Brashier Middle College. Should be a great game. Then on Thursday, another senior night for the wrestling team. Our first wrestling broadcast. The first one got canceled. It was going to be Chapman and Broome on January 5th, postponed, so we're going to be testing out the equipment in a new room for the first time this year. Landrum taking on Chesney in a wrestling matchup on January 14th, this Thursday. That stream will start at 5 p.m. 5 p.m., not 6 like the other ones. And then on Friday, the closer, the main event, if you will, varsity basketball back here at Chapman. The Panthers taking on the Clinton Red Devils in a division rivalry game. Should be an awesome week of streaming, an awesome week of athletics. And we wish all the teams involved the best of luck. Signing off for Jackson Ruff, our cameraman, I'm Luke Ruff. I'd like to thank Dr. Ron Garner, the superintendent at Spartanburg School District 1, Jason McCraw at the district office, and athletic director Greg Wilson for the Chapman Panthers for helping us get all this set up. I'm Luke Ruff. Enjoy, well, really what'll be the last college football day of the year, national championship between Alabama and Ohio State. The next big sporting event should be on right now if you guys want to tune into that. We will see you tomorrow. Remember, make sure you subscribe to Chapman High School Athletics and Landrum High School Athletics. We will be live on Landrum's channel at 5:50 p.m. for tip-off between them and the Bengals of BMC. See you then.